Hello everyone, this is a tutorial video to guide you how to go about the Teacher Self Assessment Rubrics. Teacher Self Assessment Rubrics is an assessment tool which guides teachers to self-assess themselves. It also enables teachers to reflect on their daily teaching. It also sets performance standards which enables teachers to reflect on their role and responsibilities. There are 6 performance standards altogether. Let us have a quick look on the 6 performance standards. The first one from the bottom is designing learning experiences. The second performance standard is knowledge and understanding of the subject matter. The third performance standard is strategies for facilitating learning. The fourth performance standard is interpersonal relationship. The fifth performance standard is professional development. Lastly, the sixth performance standard is school improvement or development. There are a series of steps that are needed to be followed systematically by any teacher while doing the Teacher Self-Assessment Rubrics. The first step is to fill the teacher's profile. In this step, the teacher is required to provide the necessary information about their academic or professional qualifications, experiences, details of in-service program attended by the teacher in the last 3 years. Regarding the employee's code of the teacher, they can obtain it after they have logged in into the TIMS portal using their personal user ID and password. Any achievements or awards received by the teacher needs to be mentioned in the teacher's profile. Here in the experience section, PRT refers to primary teacher, TGT refers to trained graduate teacher, and lastly PGT refers to postgraduate teacher. Here PRT, TGT and PGT refers to the teaching titles of school teachers, or in other words, designation and not qualification of teaching posts. The teacher is also to mention the classes taught along with the subject taken in those classes. Any other additional responsibilities assigned to teachers has to be mentioned. For example, in charge of examination, preparation of routine, in charge of sports, counseling, etc. After step 1, now comes step number 2, which the teacher has to fill the teacher's performance sheet. Here, in the teacher's performance sheet, the teacher has to write his or her name clearly. Then, the year for which the self-assessment is being carried out. School management type. The teacher has to mention the type of school he or she belongs, whether it is a government school, government aided, or any other school applicable to the teacher. For levels, the teacher has to put a tick mark whether the teacher belongs to the primary, the upper primary, the secondary, or the senior secondary level. And the teacher has also to mention the subject taught by him or her. In the table below, we see that there are 5 columns. The first column is for the 6 performance standards. The second column is for the performance indicators of the 6 performance standards. The third column indicates the consolidated rating of the teacher, which comprise of 4 levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. The fourth column is the average, or the total divided by the number of indicators for each performance standards. And the last column tells the level of performance after assessment for each performance standards. Here average means the total rating point of all the indicators under a performance standards divided by the number of indicators, approximated to 1 decimal place only. Here in the teacher's performance sheet, the teacher has to write his or her name clearly. Then the year for which the self-assessment is carried out. And also the teacher has to mention the school management type, whether the teacher belongs to a government or a government aided school or whatever is applicable to the teacher. For level, the teacher has to indicate the level which he or she is teaching and also to mention the subject taught. Step 4 is to fill the consolidated rating against each performance standards and indicators. After the teacher has read the rubrics, it is here in this table and in the column highlighted in red where the teacher has to put his ratings for each performance standards. Note: few important things which the teacher needs to keep in mind when filling the consolidated rating. Remember, teachers need to use the rubric to know where they stand. There are 6 performance standards and 40 performance indicators. Teachers are to rate themselves from level 1, level 2, level 3 and level 4 for all 40 performance indicators. So I would suggest you rate yourself accordingly. Choose the levels appropriately which is relevant to you. As you can see in the last column here in the table, it indicates evidence or remarks. So what do you have to do? Suppose for performance indicator 1.1, use existing knowledge and experiences of learners while planning. So if this is relevant to you, you always do it. So you will be in level 4. And you must have evidence to show how you have reached level 4. Or say, if for performance indicator 1.2, consider learning outcomes while planning. If this is something that you haven't done, you are still in level 1. And in the remarks or evidence column, you must write some remarks indicating why you are at level 1 for this performance indicator. So the same will apply for all the performance standards and the performance indicators. Here is an example to show how the teacher should fill the teacher's performance sheets by rating themselves. Read the rubrics carefully for each performance standard and rate accordingly to whatever is relevant to you. Now, let us take a simple example. Performance Standard 1, which is designing learning experiences. There are 5 performance indicators. Let us take 1.1. Read the levels of the performance indicator 1.1 carefully, and after reading, if you feel that you are in level 2, then you simply rate yourself by giving 2. Then for performance indicator 1.2, if you feel that you are in level 3 after reading the rubrics, you feel that level 3 is relevant with you, so you rate yourself a 3. Then for level 1.3, if you feel that level 2 is relevant with you, you rate yourself by giving a 2 points. Then for 1.4, if you feel that you are still in level 1 after reading the rubrics, then it doesn't matter, you can assign yourself a 1. Similarly, 1.5, if you feel that you have reached level 4, then you can assign yourself by rating 4. So this is how you should rate yourself in the teacher's performance sheet. From the previous example, after rating, the next step is that we have to calculate the average. Since we have taken the performance standard 1, now let us add up all the ratings. 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4. we get 12. And we divide by 5. What is this 5? 5 is a total number of indicators for performance standard 1. So when we divide 12 by 5, we get 2.4. So 2.4 is the average for performance standard 1. So the same procedure will be applied for the remaining performance standard. From the previous example, after we have calculated the average, if we still remember, our average for the performance standard 1 is 2.4 as shown in this table. So now, how do we interpret the level of performance? So the level of performance can be determined from the average rating points. So since our average is 2.4, now we know exactly where 2.4 lies for performance standard 1. 2.4 lies in L2. The range for L2 is 1.5 to 2.4. So the level of performance for performance standard 1 as calculated is level 2. Similarly, for other performance standard, if we have rated ourselves and we have calculated the average, we can definitely find out the level of performance for each performance standard from the table shown in this slide. Step 5. Remember, teachers, that you have to keep a copy of the teacher's profile, teacher's performance sheet, and also the descriptive feedback. These have to be submitted to the principal, who will then consolidate and submit to the CRC and BRCs for the elementary and to the diet for secondary and the higher secondary section.